James Clear's most famous quote from his book Atomic Habits is that we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. What if I told you he did not come up with that quote out of thin air? In this video, we'll track down exactly where that quote came from, what it means for our own creativity, and we'll even practice some of this quote remixing ourselves. You ready? Let's go. So Tim Ferriss was interviewed by Business Insider in December 2017, and in it, he mentions one of his favorite quotes that guides a lot of his actions, and it's from this ancient Greek poet Archilochus. And Archilochus says, "We don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training." That sounds familiar, doesn't it? 10 months after that interview, interestingly enough, is when James Clear's book Atomic Habits comes out with his quote, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." So similar quote, but slightly different. Did James Clear plagiarize Archilochus? No, he did not. He remixed the phrasing of Archilochus, but put it through his own thoughts and experiences, his own expressions, and he came up with something that was different and unique and impactful. That is a microcosm of what we do when we remix something. We can take quotes and remix them through our own unique worldview and perspective, and what comes out on the other side is going to be original. And I want you to fully embrace your role to remix words that have existed before, phrases and quotes that have existed before, feelings and experiences. Take them, pull them through you, filter them through you, and what will come out on the other side will be you, an original work. Okay, let's practice. It's pretty simple, really. When you find a quote you like, you're going to keep the form, but remix the flavor. To do that, I'm going to share my favorite personalized thinking space, which is Obsidian. So when I open this up, what we're going to do is go through each famous quote one at a time and then try to remix it. I encourage you to pause the video and add your own remix in the comments below. Or if you want to watch the whole thing, then after we go through all three, please share your own remixes in the comments. That's how we make something like this really come alive. So if you're ready, let's hop in. And now we're looking at my Ideaverse, my thinking space, and it's in the app called Obsidian. What we're going to do now is close the right-hand sidebar so we have a little bit more clean space. I'll even close the left-hand sidebar, and we're going to look at quote number 1. "No man steps in the same river twice." And this is by Heraclitus. Okay, so what's going on here? We can deconstruct it, we can unwrite it, we can do all sorts of things. But intuitively, how could we remix this? No man steps in the same river twice. I have a couple for you already. So here's remix number 1. Coming up, no chef cooks the same dish twice. Okay, so what just happened there? Instead of no man, we go no chef, and now we're not talking about stepping around, we're talking about cooking, and we're not talking about a river, we're talking about a dish. Do you see how this is working? All right, ready for remix 2? We can take this same quote, the same form that we have, okay? And we're just adding different flavor, like the chef did in that last example. So now in remix 2, no artist ever paints the same canvas twice. Do you see how this is working? So I encourage you now to pause the video and come up with your own remix. Write it in the comments, and then when you're ready, let's jump to quote 2. Okay, on to quote 2. "The unexamined life is not worth living," by Socrates. The unexamined life is not worth living. All right, how would we remix that? What's going on here? What are the elements that we can remix? Let's look at remix number 1. "The unorganized closet is not worth opening." That's a funny one. How about this? "The untasted cuisine is not worth cooking." Not as good, but hey, we're on a short timetable here. So your goal now is to think, how would I remix this? The unexamined blank is not worth blank. The blankety blank is not worth blank. That's really what you want to get to. So with your remix, try to write that in the comments below. When you're ready, we're going to jump into quote number 3. "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step," and that's by Lao Tzu. So remix number 1, "The writing of 1,000 pages begins with a single word." Ooh, I like that one. I really like this second one too. You ready for it? Here we go. "The growth of 1,000 trees begins with a single seed." Ooh, that's a good one. Now I encourage you, how would you remix this? Again, think what's going on. And a lot of this, because language is not new to us, is intuitive. So we'll immediately understand. Instead of journey, we can flip it to writing or growth, like you see in the examples. Instead of 1,000 miles, we can do 1,000 pages or 1,000 trees. And then instead of a single step, we can do a single word or a single seed. So you start to just intuitively pick up on these patterns, and then you can be a remixing pro. And again, it is original if you take a form and filter it through your own experiences to add your own flavor. That's where the originality comes from. Not from sitting next to a rock for 40 days until brilliance strikes you like a bolt of lightning. It takes from taking the existing stuff in the world, the existing forms and ideas, but then remixing them through you, the stuff that makes you unique, and then sharing those flavors with other people. Now, if remixing quotes isn't coming naturally to you, that's what this lesson in the online course, Writing Original Works, can help with. But I just want to show you what's actually in here. So if we go to practice remixing ideas into new ideas, this is going to break apart and deconstruct the remixing process. So if we try this one from the ancient Greek poet Archilochus, we have the original. We don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training. So the first thing that you want to do in this case, if you really want to deconstruct the process, is do an unwritten version, where you just try to speak plainly about what is being said. Don't adorn it with fancy language or any sort of interesting form or structure. Just try to speak as plainly as possible. So here's an example. Our training is the baseline of our outcomes, not our goals or dreams. So that's me trying to say it as cleanly as possible. Now the other thing you can do is make the editable version. So if anyone's familiar with Mad Libs, we're doing something similar. We don't rise to the level of our noun, so we're replacing expectations with noun, and then we fall to the level of our noun. So we're replacing training with noun. With this editable version, all you need to do now is think about how you want to replace the two nouns. Now, if this is coming to you intuitively, you won't have to break it apart and deconstruct it this way. You can just jump right to trying to remix it. And then we see the popular remix below. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, by James Clear. So now, what is your version? If you haven't already, with this quote, the quote that we've been spending the most time on in this video, hit pause and try to remix this for yourself. We don't rise to the level of our noun, we fall to the level of our noun. I dare you to pause the video and share your remix in the comments below. Make this come alive for you. That's the best way to do it. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. I'm going to assume that you've already shared your versions of different remixes in the comments, and I just want to share a couple takeaways also from the lesson in the WOW curriculum. Okay, let me make this even bigger. Takeaway number 1, it's easy and fun to remix ideas. All you have to do is just add your unique perspective. It's like you're adding flavor to a dish. That's all you have to do. And takeaway number 2, it's necessary to remix ideas. It's selfish not to add your voice to this conversation that we're all having. It is selfish to keep it bottled inside. Keep that in mind. That's the more selfish move here. It's not selfish to share your voice. So I really want to encourage you to lean forward and share and communicate. Take what's already out there, those great time-tested forms and formats and structures, but then filter it and flavor it through your own unique perspective. So on the other side, you're sharing what is truly uniquely you, an original idea and work flavored by who you are. And final reveal on screen, your next action is to be more like James Clear and remix quotes like Archilochus's. If you can do that, I believe your creativity will be on the right track. And if you want to learn more about writing and writing effectively with linked notes and writing original stuff, then I encourage you to check out our course, Writing Original Works. The link is in the description below. I hope this video has given you a sense of permission to be more creative. There's nothing that should be getting in your way between what you're thinking and what you're sharing. You have permission. And until next time, stay connected. Now, if you got something out of this video on how to energize our minds and remix existing ideas, then you definitely have to check out this video on the book that no one else is going to recommend to you, but it's going to catalyze your thoughts and energize your mind. It's all about, well, you'll have to click on that video. I'll see you there.